Massachusetts. Hey Bill, hey Nathan, and welcome to our little neighborhood of all of these traditional older homes, but not ours, because we are working on this beauty right here, a 1957 mid-century modern. And we've been at it for almost 9 months, which means we are finally into the home stretches. Still a lot of work to go, though. You can see that we've got a sitting wall here for the front patio made out of block, mostly done, although we are keeping that warm because the work is not complete. Over here, we've got a new pad that was just laid for another entryway. The doors have been hung, lacking some hardware. And this section of the house right here, with the horizontal siding, that's one of 2 additions, and it contrasts with the vertical siding that we have on the main house. A lot of work going on outside, and just as much work going on inside. Back here in the master suite, you can see a lot of stuff going on. Hardwood floors still going down. We've got a master bath that needs to be trimmed out. And in the master bedroom, hey, Sean, how are you?
Kevin, good to see you.
We've got a closet system going in. Every homeowner loves a well-organized closet.
Absolutely.
So we thank you guys for doing this for us. What are we putting in?
So right now, we're just finishing up the final touches here on the right-hand master.
How does this get used?
So right here, we have a couple fixed shelves, another one over here, and what we're going to be putting in up top is the wardrobe racks for the closets.
Hanging clothes here,
Absolutely.
stackable clothes there?
Yep.
What's the material and the finish?
So this is a pressed wood with a laminate finish wrapped all the way around.
Gotcha. And how do we get this look? What do you guys call
So
that?
this is our river rock finish, that nice light gray tones. We also put in a backboard here, so just kind of give it more of a built-in look.
So hanging and stackable clothes there. Looks like we've got a drawer system going in here.
Exactly. So Derek's kind of finishing up on the final touches here, but we have a his and her drawer set down below.
Yeah, we still got some boxes to go in. And the hardware, did you guys give us this or did our homeowner pick it?
We gave that to you.
Okay, so I know our homeowner's thinking about what he needs for the closet doors as well as some entryways. All right, you got a little bit more work to do. I will let you get back to it.
Appreciate it.
All right, Carly, you know this is a mid-century modern house, and you can see the trim detail is really non-existent. It really looks really simple to do, but it's not. It takes some of the stress off of the carpenter when he has to do the trim, because normally you'd put a casing on here like this.
Okay.
So we're putting some of the trim detail on the plasterer. They have to be more exact with the trim that goes around it, and we've done it on all the doors and windows. On the baseboard, you see in houses, you take a piece of baseboard and you'd put it up against the wall.
Yeah.
And you nail it off. But we don't want that detail here. We want the baseboard to end up flush with the wall surface also, so we have to fit it in between this little groove. The plasterer has already put the molding, the metal molding that they've plastered to. We want to fit that in between that. We want to make the transition between the wood and the plaster. We want to put a little bit of a rabbit cut in there, or some people would call it a dado, but that's just to give it a little bit of a line so that you can see the difference.
Okay.
But also, by putting it in here, we have to allow for the different expansion and contraction from the wood and the wall. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of wood. So we're going to cut this little detail right here on the top of our molding with a router.
Okay.
And that's called a rabbet. All right, now here's a piece of baseboard right here that's going to insert into that place. So what I've done is I've held this down there, and I know that I have to scribe this line right off right here, removing this wood. To do that, I'm going to use my plane. Now when using a plane, I want to run with the grain and not into the grain.
Okay.
So I can see that the grain dives down like that. So if I took the plane and I went into the grain the wrong way, it wants to dig in, and that could actually chip off a piece. So I take the plane, I turn it around, and now I'm going with the grain. So I'm going to hold my plane on an angle like that. I'm going to shave it so I take more off of the bottom, creating a slight bevel, bring it right down to the line. Now we'll try it and see how it fits.
Okay.
All right, that fits right in there nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing we need to do is cut the rabbet across the top. And I want to do that before I cut the length.
Why is that?
And I'll show you why right now. Also, you notice how I placed the plane when I left?
Yeah.
I put it on its side. Don't get in the habit of using the plane and then dropping it down like that. This leading edge is so sharp and so thin that you could hit something and blunt it or make it dull. So to get the life out of the plane that you want, get in the habit of doing that.
Side. Got it.
Okay, now we're ready to cut the rabbet across the top of our baseboard. And to do that, we're going to use a rabbeting bit right here in our router. So the rabbeting bit has a bearing, and it cuts a ½ an inch deep if we want to go all the way. We control the depth of the way it cuts this way with this bearing right here, and we can change that by changing the size of the bearing.
Okay.
Okay? In this case, I only want to cut a rabbet about 1/4 by maybe 3/16 of an inch. And I can control that with the depth and by the bearing.
Got it.
The bearing is going to control it this way, and the depth is going to control it that way.
So how do you know what depth to set the stop at?
All right, so what I do is I would take the router and I would take a block of wood like this and hold it on the plate, slide it over so the wood touches the bearing, and push down until it stops. Now I'm going to lock the router in. What that does is that sets the top of that bit right there flush with the base of my router.
Okay.
Now I want to control the depth that it makes the cut. I'm going to use this spacer right here, and I'm going to hit one of these detents. It doesn't matter which one, but we'll use that one. And I've cut a filler that's 3/16 of an inch.
Which is the size that we want it to plunge into the wood?
Exactly.
Okay.
So now I hold it right here against the stop, and I push this down, hold it firm, not too tight, lock it in. Now when I take that out, I've created a gap that's 3/16 of an inch. Now when I loosen up the router again, I push down that 3/16, and that's the depth of my cut. Okay? All right, so you ready to do some routing?
Yes.
I'm
Let's
going to
do
show
it.
you first why we didn't cut the board to length yet.
Okay.
Now, you're going to take the router, you're going to make sure that it's loose, you're going to push down till it stops, and you're going to lock it in.
Okay.
You're going to keep 2 hands on the router. You're going to push down here because you don't want the router to fall off.
Okay.
All right? So take the router. There's your trigger, on, off. And I'm going to have you, you're going to stand like this. You're going to push it like that.
Okay.
Okay? You can start about halfway and run it down. Now, keep it away from, yeah. Take it off the plunge. All right? Now start it up. Don't plunge it. Don't plunge it. Start it up. Lock it in. Now bring it out gently. Make sure you keep pressure down here to keep the router base flush. Now we'll look at the cutter. Bring it down. Push down. All the way till it stops. Now lock it in tight because you don't want it to come back up. Now you're going to gently the router base flush. And right along. Push it. Right along. Gently push in. Push it right along. Okay, so you see how you made that little cut right there?
Yeah.
If we had cut this board to length, you'd
Oh,
see that on the
okay.
face. All right, so we need that extra material to run the bearing on.
Got it.
First thing I want to do is I want to square one end so we can mark our length. Square, take it over to the wall, and we're going to mark our length. Take the square end and put it against the jamb on that side, and then mark the length on this side. All right, let's see how it fits. Put it into the opening. All right, now before I nail it off, I want to sand it all and then put it back into place.
Looks great.
All right, and that's the detail we're looking for.
So we got a master toilet, which is a wall-hung toilet here.
Yep.
3 volume controls and a thermostatic valve with a rain head, another rain head, and a handheld.
Nice big shower, right?
It is. It's a curbless shower,
Oh yeah,
which
look at that.
we don't have any center drain due to the fact that we've got very short floor joists to get the curbless drain below us.
Drain being where? Over here?
So now our drain has been, we've gone to a wall drain, which has helped us out,
You can actually see it is all pitched right up to this wall.
Correct. So all the water will run this way and then should all make it down into this drain.
Well, what the heck is a wall drain? I've never even heard of such a thing.
Well, it's kind of similar to a linear drain that you'd see at the bottom, but instead of it falling into the floor, now we're going to fall into the wall and dive into our trap.
Which is
actually sitting inside the wall due to the fact that our floor joists are so low below us.
Is that still exposed? Can we look at that?
Correct, right downstairs here.
Let's go check that out, because that's not something I haven't seen either.
So down here in the powder room, Kevin, we can see the trap for the drain and the floor joists. So here's the body of the shower drain, which sits in this stud bay. We've recessed it so it sits flush with the wall. Here's the mud bed, and then the body of the drain. Mark waterproof that to the mud bed, and you can see our floor joists right here in the drain that runs along to our 2-inch trap. Now the 2-inch trap sits below our floor joist, but because of the wall drain, it's inside the stud bay, and we do not affect the shower on the other side of this wall, so we don't have to put recess or put a box of any sort to where the trap would be below the floor joists.
So if that trap were in the center of that shower, what would you have to do?
We'd end up having to box it in or drop the ceiling somehow.
So that actually helps us as well as looking pretty good.
It was perfect for this installation.
And then how do you finish off that drain? What's the final look?
There's a finished cover plate that Eric Ferrante is working on right now.
I'll go check it out. Thanks,
There you
Kevin.
go. Yes, sir.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Kevin.
So this is the cap to our wall drain?
This is it.
What do you got going on here?
We're just going to put this last piece in.
Into a, what is it, a metal trough they
Yep.
give you?
Yep, we have a metal finish plate here that's going to insert into the drain body there.
So that's the tile you've added.
Yep.
All right, let's check it out. So it's like a linear drain where it actually fits in there, except obviously on the wall. How is that going to
Yes.
stay in place?
Well, behind the tile, there's the manufacturer supplies us with magnets,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
which coexist with the magnets behind the drain body itself.
So you've added the tile, but you guys have taken the time to cut it so it matches the pattern in the wall. Beautiful.
Exactly.
And this dimension right here, the opening set by you or the manufacturer?
The manufacturer gives us feet to put on this finish plate, which is set at 3/8 of an inch off the floor.
Right. Well, that is pretty slick. You know, and if you're standing up looking down while you're taking a shower, you don't see the drain at all.
Yep.
Very cool. All right. That's a first for me. Okay, so that stuff goes in pretty quickly, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely.
Looking good. And how do you give us that final finished, trimmed out look?
So over here on the corners here, we're going to put in the paper, so it's actually in the same finish as the river rock.
Like literally like a wallpaper?
Yeah, it's a wallpaper. And then we'll tie in the side with some trim pieces. Down below, we'll do a toe kick.
So we'll cover this space up right there.
Absolutely.
All right.
And then up above, we're going to bring a shelf all the way to this window frame here, so we actually won't even see that ceiling.
Yep.
And we'll pop a hole in there, so we'll have some recessed lighting really protruding into the cabinet space.
Beautiful finished look and well organized. Awesome.
Appreciate it.
John, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the help.
Pleasure.
The white oak floors are in, and they're beautiful, and they're pre-finished. Unfortunately, the transition pieces like the nosing, the risers, and the treads are not. So we have to match that finish, so we brought in a restoration expert, Wayne Toll, to show us how to do it. Hey guys, Wayne, how are you?
Good, Tommy. How are you?
Good,
This,
thanks.
this is Jim.
Hey Jim, how are you? So, I gotta say, those floors up there are beautiful, and they're pre-finished, but obviously, you've got to stain the stair treads and the transitions.
Yes, we do.
So what do you got there?
This is a piece of the pre-finished floor.
So this has the finish on it.
Correct.
I put it up against this with no finish. That looks pretty close to me, Wayne.
Exactly. But watch this. When you wet the wood, see how much darker it gets?
Yeah, it definitely got
That's why we have to stain it a lighter color.
Stain it lighter.
Correct. And to create this color, we're going to use a white base stain. And here's the white base stain. We'll be adding yellow ochre, French yellow ochre, and raw umber.
Okay, so you're actually just gonna do this by eye?
Yes. And what we do is, this is a step sample.
Yep.
So what we do is we start here, then we keep adding more color, until we hit it.
So that formula is made up by eye.
Correct.
That's amazing. All right, well, I'd like to see the process. Let's see what happens.
So Jim, if you,
Okay, so I'm just going to start with some white stain. So we're going to add a little raw umber to our mix.
Okay, so you just take a proportion and you're guessing right now.
Exactly.
So you can tell by just looking at that as a liquid that you need more of a color.
Sure.
It's definitely an I, because I don't think I could do that.
So a little French yellow. And this is what just takes time because you're just doing everything by eye. You don't want to shoot past the color.
Right. Now, this is a very small amount.
Right.
So this is just so that you know that the 3 colors that you are using is going to be right?
Exactly. So that doesn't look too bad. So you can kind of see we're getting into that range.
Oh, yeah, I can start to see it. Yeah.
And then the other thing we have to think about is the natural color of the wood because that's going to have a big role to play too.
So we're ready to start staining the threads?
Sure.
All right, let's see it. Now, I know it's always a challenge when you're trying to stain a board and match the color because the color of wood varies, the same species, the same board. Like, for example, we have some lighter colors here and some darker ones right here.
Correct. So what we've done is we've taken an average of the color and we've stained and sealed this nosing and this tread.
Okay.
And as you can see, it has a nice flow through the dark and into the light.
It does. All right, so what's the next step?
So the next step is Jim's going to start staining these treads.
Oh, perfect. Well, it's looking good. I gotta say, you guys have your work cut out for you. There's a lot of stairs to do.
It is time for a last-minute shopping trip. So we've come to a local hardware locksmith store. Sunil, good to see you.
Hi, Kevin. Good to see you too. This is Dan.
Dan, nice to meet you.
Kevin, pleasure.
Thanks for having us. So you are in the market for hardware?
Yes, interior hardware, including those for the closet doors, the tall doors in the bedrooms, as well as all the interior doors, I guess, entry to the bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. So
Where did you start?
So we started with the handles for the closets. We started online like everybody does these days, and we actually picked this model earlier, and it looks pretty slick in picture, but when I felt it, it didn't have that good solid feel that I wanted. So after looking at the rest of them, I think we have chosen this model.
So what are the options right here? This is what material?
This is a satin nickel finish, which is actually what Sunil's going with.
Just in this style
In
here.
this style, this is an oil rub bronze, and it
Gotcha.
comes in, you can get up to an 18-inch pull, which I feel is a very sturdy pull on a closet.
Okay. So that's for the closets.
Yep.
Also interior doors you're looking for?
Exactly, yes. So, we looked at knobs and levers. This was our top choice.
Not being a lever, surrounded by knobs, right?
Yep, exactly. So this was the lever we picked online, but again, this was very thin, almost blade-like, and didn't have a great feel when I tried to pull it. So we chose something that's somewhat different. So these are the levers and knobs that we ultimately considered. I think, I like this knob a lot, although Neha wasn't into knobs that much. So I think ultimately we're going to go with levers. And from the ones here, I think this one had the good solid feel that I was going for. What do you think, Dan?
These 3 different types of levers that come in various different finishes and also different types of rosettes. So Sunil actually said he's going to go with the satin nickel and square rosette shown right here.
That's right, yeah.
And have we thought about exterior hardware?
Oh, let me show you.
What are you thinking?
So this is the exterior door handle that we went with, and this is the latch. On the inside, it'll have this kind of a lever. For a deadbolt, though, instead of having a manual or mechanical one like this, we would like a digital one.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I have them right over here. This is the lock that Sunil chose. It's an electronic deadbolt. This deadbolt could be used with your cell phone, key override, or with the actual keypad itself.
How's it work?
The way it works is you would press the logo to lock it,
Yeah.
and then when unlocking it, you press the logo button again, the lights light up, and then you put in the code.
Right. Nice. Okay. So Sunil, this is one you're going with.
Yep, exactly.
We've got decisions on the interior. Are you
Yep.
ready to order everything we need?
I think so. I think it's getting close.
It's getting very close, and you're ready to supply for us, right?
I'm ready whenever you guys tell me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it.
Pleasure
Thanks,
meeting
Sunil.
you.
Thank you
Sunil,
again.
pleasure seeing you.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Kevin.
So your cabinet work continues. You guys did the kitchen cabinets for us, and now bathroom vanity, it looks like?
Yep, bathroom vanity, a high-tech one.
Yeah, very high-tech. What's that, all aluminum?
All aluminum. It's a modular unit, so they kind of picked their pieces and they built a great one to put in the master bath.
How many pieces am I looking at here?
Looking at 6 pieces. You got a big lower and a small upper, a small one between to join, and then another big and small.
You guys have to sort of assemble it. It's going together right now.
Exactly, like an erector set. We're bolting this thing all together. We have ganging kits here. We're just about finished up.
Okay.
We have aluminum channels to hide this joint.
So that's going to be sort of the trim feature when it's all said and done?
Exactly.
Beautiful. That just
Nice,
slides down there.
nice frosted glass panels going everywhere.
Like here and here, such?
Yep, draw fronts are frosted glass and capped on the end with frosted glass as well.
Ooh, fairly fancy. And why am I seeing outlets?
It's a nice
plugs, I guess?
Nice little feature. They have night lights.
No
so when
kidding.
they go in the bathroom at night, it'll be a nice little glow.
It lights up right here.
But also they're going to have power coming in, so if they want to have a hair dryer or a curling iron in the drawer, they can have power right inside.
Okay, so is this fully assembled? You guys got another couple to do?
This is fully assembled. We're just finishing tightening stuff up. We'll put these channels in, and then we're going to bring it in.
All right.